Good morning, everyone. Eric here from Nomadic Fanatic. Yesterday, Diane and I went on a scavenger hunt, a two-state scavenger hunt, trying to find more of, well, this stuff that we stained with this to finish the ceiling. If you guys missed my last video, we started putting up my stained pine tongue and groove planks up there that I got a great deal on, and then we ran out and I realized that I was about 15 short, and now we might have a problem. We might have a real problem. Thanks for joining me on the channel once again, guys. Eric here, and I will be uploading this video with some connecting internet, so be sure to check out the video description below for unlimited high-speed internet. Little backstory to the whole ceiling thing. I saved a bunch of money. By getting this pine tongue and groove from someone selling it online from a house project left over. He had what I thought was enough to finish my bus, and the price was very, very good. Like 50% off what you would pay at a hardware store like Lowe's, Home Depot, or another building supplier. 50% off. And I thought that I would have no problem getting more of this if I needed more of this. Okay, so then we stained it all the color of my choice, and it looks awesome. And then we ran out in my last video. And ever since then, I have done nothing but try to find a replacement. Diane and I have literally driven all around southern Mississippi and Louisiana trying to find an exact match. And I know what you're thinking out there. Eric, I've seen it at Home Depot. I've seen it at Lowe's. Yes, you have. You have seen something very similar to this. This is a 5-inch plank, not a 6-inch plank. I may have to take down one little start that I made there and just try something new. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how I plan to resolve this, because this tongue and groove is a little funky. I want you to see the tongue first. So the tongue is not universal. This is the top, this is the bottom, because of this angle right there. See the angle? And then see how there's no angle? This is just a 90 degree. This is an angle. This only goes in one way. And there's the groove on this side right there. So the problem we were having, and this is the closest I could find, was a 6-inch plank. It's also pine, at least. So my theory, if I show you the unstained side, I believe that the wood is very, very similar. I think that my stain will be very similar, and we're going to find out here in just a minute. But the first thing I had to do was find something that fits into this. Why doesn't this fit into this? It should be the same. Now, Diane and I brought this piece with us to Home Depot. This is where we got this. You can also see how this has a rip, has a seam on one side, no seam on this side. However, then just by chance, I grabbed the tongue of what we already have into the groove of the Home Depot stuff that has this. Fits like a glove. Actually, it might even be a little too loose, but it does physically fit in here. Ironically, as so many people pointed out, we installed these backwards. Not upside down, but backwards. You're actually supposed to hit the tongue into the groove of the next one, and that's how you install them. Well, ironically, we just didn't do that, and it still worked out just fine. We went groove against the wall and then started bringing in other grooves into the tongue as we continued. And again, everything worked fine, but I guess there's a reason why you're supposed to do it the other way. You're supposed to pound the tongue into the groove of the one that's already up there. But because we did it backwards, we are saved. Because inside the bus, I'll show you. Because we did it backwards, I am going to go like this. It's caught up right there. There we go. Bingo. Bingo. It's in. It's flush. and we will be able to use this to put the next one in and then cut the third. We're going to be saved, guys. We're going to be saved, but are you going to be able to notice the difference? You know what I mean? So, let me stain this with my golden oak outside, and then we'll see how close, how good this looks next to this. I was really worried there for a second, guys. And if you're following me, you remember that we did the same thing with this vinyl floor that I got a great deal on clearance and then ran out. Luckily, it's one of the top sellers at Lowe's, and they had it in every store available to buy more at full retail price. So, if this all works out, I will have gotten 250 square feet of this for $400, and I need about 30 square feet more that's going to cost me $190 just for that 30 square feet. But I still saved money. All right, let's stain this. All right, again, we're going to use some of this. This is readily available at Walmart, so as much more as we need. If this doesn't last when I get the other boards, this is actually available in town here. I have not found a way. If you guys have a secret to this, let me know. I have not found a way to save these brushes after staining them. Obviously, after painting, I would use paint thinner or mineral spirits, which I have tried every time we've been staining, but these are just not reusable. They stay very, very hard. You do not get the bristles back, and this would leave horrible lines in my wood if I were to try to reuse these brushes that I have fully cleaned, but yet the stain just seems to make them one-time use brushes. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use a very cheap Walmart brand new 99-cent brush. Obviously, when I stain the rest of the boards that this works, I'm going to use a nice, much nicer, broader brush. So this will obviously take a little longer with a smaller brush, but we're going to get a good idea for how closely this is going to match the other wood that I've stained. They're both pine. They're both kiln drying wood. So, you know, heated and dried. And I'm just trying to do the same exact coat, thin. I'd call it a relatively thin coat here. All right, let me get this done up. I'll get back to you. Well, Diana?
Challenges, honey. There will always be a little challenge.
What are we going to do here? Let me show you this. This is the custom pallet of wood that we got cheaply. Pine, tongue and groove. This is the Home Depot. With the same exact golden oak stain. A completely different look. I mean, completely different. This almost looks red. And the fire kilned pine that we got cheaply looks awesome. Same stain. So, I mean, that's very noticeable side by side. Diane and I are trying to come up with just a way to make this work without breaking the bank. We're trying to get creative. The back side of these are kind of funky. But also remember, these are only designed to be installed one way, as I showed you earlier. See how the top has the 90-degree angle and the bottom? But let me go test something here real quick. Can we get by doing it the wrong way? We do everything else the wrong way. If we could sand and stain the same wood, these pieces that we got, that he stained black. Because remember, it's still all just about visual. The fridge is not where the fridge goes. The fridge actually goes there. This will all be covered. So this area right here doesn't even matter. It will all of this will be covered until you get to the mini split right here. This will be open, and above the TV will be open. You'll see this difference. Then there'll be a wall here for the bathroom toilet. All of this will be a closet. When you go back in the back bedroom, this will be visible again back here. But I'm wondering, even though, let's see here, let me flip this. If we put this in the wrong way, why doesn't it, this one's kind of broke. I mean, it does technically go in. It's not correct. It's backwards. But if we can use scraps, if we can salvage the scraps just to fill in the parts that are visible so that they'll stain and look exactly identical, then we can get the Home Depot pieces for the parts that are going to be covered. Let's go test that theory. Isn't that weird how that does actually fit in the wrong way? I mean, it doesn't have the 45-degree angle here that it does there, but it could work. It could, maybe. We have a couple pieces that we might be able to sell. Well, here's the problem is they're like moldy from the way he stored them. And they got gunk all over them and everything. Huh. Well, let me see what happens if I try to sand that down. See if we can get that clean. Here's the part I just sanded. It definitely got some of it off. See? But I'm also now wondering, since this is meant to be one-sided, is this the finished side? And this is going to look exactly identical to the piece we just got at Home Depot after I stained it with the same stuff. So we'll have to do a little test sample here and see if this is even going to look the same with the same color on the opposite side. You know what? But building a bus is not going to be perfect. Building a bus is going to be custom. Yeah, I'm just trying to do the best I can here right now. I can't go find the exact match. It's just not going to work for these last 15 pieces. By the way, it was not square feet that I purchased. It was linear board feet. I don't know. I didn't go to college for construction, so there's a big difference between linear board feet and square feet. So there's that too. Live and learn. We're just actually doing a little sample piece here. This is the back side that I sanded. It's still got a little bit of blue and other stains on it, but compared, well, actually we'll let this dry before I compare it, but I can already tell it's going to be a lot closer to the other stuff.
It's because it's wet. As soon as it
dries,
dries, it'll get...
Obviously, we have to let it dry. Yeah, keep going. Just go ahead and finish that one, and then we'll test it out. Because that one compared to this one, it's just a totally different shade. Let's see. And grain pattern, and process for drying them, and quality, and cut, and everything. So... Okay, the actual exact same wood that they stained almost black, that I sanded and put the same exact golden oak on the wrong side. Ready? For reference, it says this has dried 6 hours. And it's completely different, guys. That makes me feel very strongly that the whole front and back finished, unfinished thing is a side. The buyer, the seller that sold me all these, said, you can't reuse those ones. I'm like, yeah, you can. I don't know, guys. I make mistakes all the time. This one is driving me nuts. This one's driving me nuts. Let me get back to you. Well, we're going to try something different, guys. I have some good news. The seller who sold me the original leftovers put me in touch with his distributor who sells bundles of them. Although he no longer sells the 12-foot bundles or pallets, I just ordered 2 bundles of 8-foot boards. Supposed to be identical to the ones I already had. Now, I don't know how that's really possible because every piece of pine is cut from a different tree with different grains. But I don't know, guys. All of a sudden, everything is just kind of slowed down for me. And it's like, Eric, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. And it's going to drive you crazy every time you lay in bed and look up and see the difference. My advice to you guys, no matter what the great deal is, make sure that there is more of that same exact wood. Because no tree is the same out there anywhere.